Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Novel Nana. I'm Bex. Thanks so much for joining me today. Now today's video, guys, is going to be a little bit on the longer side, but if you're interested in seeing how a idea of a story can grow and then be edited and cut down and compacted to only keep the good bits, stay tuned because that's what this video is all about. So, if you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. And if you're just coming back as a normal subscriber, I appreciate you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me again. So, real quick, excuse the mess, guys. I am quite the mess today. But anywho, I wanted to talk to you today about my short story submissions. So I don't know if you guys have been following me for a while or not, so I'll just kind of give you the gist of it. So a while back, I had entered a contest, a short story contest, and I had come up with a piece, but it had to fit within the parameters of that specific contest. Now, this contest specifically was Kent Sean's Contest of Doom. So, anywho, I had to write a original piece for this contest and submit it by the deadline, and the story went through quite a few changes. Now, the story started off with about 5 sentences. It was like a 5 sentence micro flash fiction type story. However, through the help of my critique partner, Barrett Laurie, I was able to really develop this story. And once I had developed it as far as I could take it, I realized that there was just no way that it was going to fit for me to be able to submit it to Kent Sean's contest. So I enlisted Barrett, and he graciously agreed to help me. And he, threw back and forth some ideas with me, gave me his opinion on things which could be made stronger, the elements that I really needed to hone in and really focus on for the best impact or biggest punch. So anyway, through that back and forth, I had a wonderful critique partner in Barrett. Through that back and forth and through his insight, I was able to put this story into the right parameters for submission. So I'm glad to say that what started out as a 5 sentence story actually landed me 5th place in the writing contest. So I was very excited about placing, first of all, but also I did feel a little bit like I had let my critique partner down, and also the judges and the other writers, because I didn't think that I had lived up to the status, I guess, that I was hoping through my efforts with my critique partner, that we had elevated the story to. However, as I said, I'm very pleased that I even placed it all. Now, the awesome thing is my critique partner actually had helped not one contestant, but 2 contestants really hone their stories for the contest. And it just shows what a great critique partner he truly is, especially with the edits and things that he had given and suggested, because 2 contestants that he had helped actually placed in the contest. So, thanks, Barrett. Anyways, guys, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right into this video, and I'm going to show you where this story kind of originated, how it grew, and what parts were cut in order to end up with the final version for the contest. Okay, so I'm going to have to put these readers on. Okay, so first let me just say, this is where I have it on my phone. I had to take a screenshot of it. Okay, so I had written this back to my son a couple months ago. Just a quick little micro horror fiction flash, whatever you want to call it. And I had titled it back then, Lunch with Mom. And all I had was, eat your food and I will take you for ice cream later, Mom says as I stare at my plate. I had already eaten the burger. All that was left was the pickle and 2 white crescent shapes next to the fries. I hated the long, crunchy ones, so I picked up the short, fat one first. Mom squirts a perfect circle of ketchup in the center of my dish and says, "Go on. There's only 3 left." I dip it in the ketchup, chew it fast, and swallow hard. But the fingernail I always spit out onto my plate. I grab the skinny short one next and tell myself again, it's only a French fry. It makes it easier. Just one more, and then I get ice cream. So that's what the story actually started out as. Now, obviously, it didn't stay like that. I'm going to have to adjust this real quick, guys. Let me see if I can. Oh, good luck, Bex. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we're going to try it. Okay. So that is where the initial idea for my story, which is called Five Finger Discount. But anywho, so if you're interested, guys, stick around and I will show you the different versions of that story. So as you can see, that it literally started out as something along those lines, but it really wasn't fleshed out, and it was only like 5 sentences long. So from that to getting 5th place in this contest was just, a huge ordeal. But it started out, let me see here, from that 5. Oh, goodness gracious. Guys, I'm so not good at this. It is what it is. Now, later today, I will be, or when this video goes up, it'll be, let's see, it's going to go up Thursday. So when you see it, it'll be on Thursday. So later Thursday, we are having our critique group. So please feel free to come and join that critique group for, all your works in progress or whatever. It's going to be on Barrett Laurie's channel, and it's, again, that critique group live with Bex and Barrett, or Barrett and Bex. But, anywho, where was I? I totally get off topic all the time, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I wanted to show you here, like, all of these pages. I think this one was 20 pages. Okay, so this was the 5 Finger Discount story. And then this one right here. I'm going to move it again. I always do this, guys. What is up? I think, let me see. Okay, so anyway, I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, the different versions. Lord of mercy. Okay, so then this one, which was the second version, actually 3rd version, this was cut down, and it was only 16 pages. So then we had the actual one that got submitted, and I believe it was 7 pages. I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 pages. So anyway, those were the different versions of the story, and I'm going to go ahead and read the difference between the first pages, okay? So what started out as keys jingle in the lock. She's coming in. I spring to my feet, smoothing out the indentation that I'd left on the top sheet. The knobs slowly twist. The door squeaks open. I stand at attention for her inspection. She circles. A vulture scanning my sparse, tidy room, ready to pounce if she spies any offense. I try not to tremble as she towers over me. She looks at the bed and back to me. My sly smirk slides into place. Already made it, I think to myself. She nods at the bed and back to me. My sly... Guys, I'm so sorry. I just read the same sentence twice. She nods, turned to me, a palm extended that I quickly clasp. She leads me out and down the hallway. What day is it? I ask, tripping over my own feet as I try to keep up to her breakneck pace. Sunday, she says flatly, not bothering with details of month and date. We stop at the bathroom as she leans against the open door and ushers me in. Within seconds of me sitting down, she points at the stack of clothes on the countertop and barks out an order. Put these on. Stopping midstream, I reach for the toilet paper. Front to back, Caroline, I say to myself. I hop on the toilet in seconds and a drop of urine runs down my leg. Oh, Caroline, I don't mean right this minute, for heaven's sake. I mean when you finish your business. Nodding, I squat again and continue to empty my bladder. Opening the floodgates now. She snaps her head around, eyes conveying her words unspoken. Ladylike, Caroline, not forceful and willy-nilly like a man. I hear it in my head. I focus on a slow and quiet trickle as she lifts her chin, satisfied. I'll be in the kitchen. Wash up and brush that rat's nest. Can't have you go into God's house looking like a heathen. Not a single knot. Brush it smooth. Appearances, appearances. I knew the outcome. Should she find any tangles, I'd end up with a buzz cut or bald. If it offends, cut it off. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. There's a whole lot more, but this scene conveyed the essence of the story. Um, the premise is the girl has been locked away for some wrongdoing, and her mother has punished her by locking her away for a lengthy amount of time. And she is let out to use the restroom and to go to church. Um, so, as you can see from this, she has a lot of inner dialogue. Things that her mother has said to her over the years that have really stuck in her mind. So that's like the appearances, or if it offends, cut it off. These are things that she has heard a lot. And so through the story, I won't read you guys all 20 whatever pages it was, 21 pages. But there's a lot. There's a whole lot. Now, if for some reason you guys do want to hear the original version with all 21 pages, that's cool. Leave me a comment. I'll make a separate video for it, and you guys can critique me on it. Feel free to do so. Okay, so that was that version. Now, on the second one, the second first page, this was the first pass at the edits, like implementing those edits. So this was the first revision. So now it reads, keys jingle outside my door. One turn and click of the lock later, the knob slowly twists and the door squeaks open. Standing in the door's frame is Mom. It's safe now to come out. She waves me over and walks down the hallway toward the kitchen. I follow. What day is it? I ask. Sunday, she says flatly. She stops at the bathroom and leans against the open door and ushers me in to pee. Within seconds of sitting down, she barks out an order. Put these on, she says, pointing at a stack of clothes on the countertop. I stop midstream and hop off the toilet. Oh, Caroline, I don't mean right this minute. For heaven's sake, I mean when you finish your business. I squat again, and my bladder resumes at her say-so. I'll grab the scale and wait for you in the kitchen. Wash up. Brush the nuts out of your hair. Can't go to God's house looking like you have a rat's nest on your noggin. A deep-seated mantra whispers, appearances, appearances, from within my skull. I dress and wash and pick up the brush and go about the task of detangling my hair. Satisfied after a few minutes of torture from all the yanking and pulling, my head barely feels attached to my shoulders, but at least the vermin had vacated. I lay the brush upon the counter, and then after a glance, I pick it up again. I almost forgot to pull the red strands free from the brush's bristles. Mom hated hair left in the brush. That was a close one. Stupid, stupid Caroline. Pay attention, I say to my reflection, chastising myself. I examine the brush closely, shaking my head at the tedious chore. She would have noticed, and I would have paid for that mistake. More than likely with an impromptu buzz cut, no doubt. If it offends, cut it off. Okay, so that's kind of that version. Now, for the next version, which the next version really encompasses the middle and the ending of the story into the front page. So it leads with that hook to bring you in. It doesn't have so much of the backstory as the previous two versions did. Okay, so this one states, I sinned. I admit it. I had stolen a granola bar from the locked pantry at home, a midnight snack that violated my bone broth diet, the one I'd been put on after reaching 90 pounds. Overweight in Mom's eyes for someone not yet 5 feet tall. She sentenced me to a year in the attic for breaking two of the deadly sins in one fell swoop, greed and gluttony. Ungrateful thieving piggy, Mom had called me when she caught me. I had sworn back then to never disobey, never fall into temptation, yet here I sat, ensnared by the same sins once again. But After this, my final atonement, I will have learned my lesson, my first and last day of freedom, both today. I am free from the attic, but will forever be chained to the congregation. I had always sat in the pew, never believing the messages preached from the pulpit. But one by one, us kids are converted, our parents full participants in a twisted religious sect. It is the duty of all church members to keep the flock in line. You know, it takes a village after all. All children must learn to obey. Our parents follow twisted rules and go whatever lengths they must in order to belong, survive, and thrive in our community. Okay, so the next one was we keep up appearances. But anyway, I'm not going to go too much further, but as you can see, the story morphed, the story changed, the focus shifted. So in the original story, which was the 21-page long version, basically it kind of lets you in on her life. So it gives you more of details about how she perceives the church, how she perceives the things that she was taught by her mother, how she perceives, you know, the essence of what is considered, you know, good or evil, the standards that have been set out for her. So in the longest version, we get to see kind of a whole day in the life of this character, Caroline. So we actually get to see her get ready for church with her mother. There are a few details in there that really let the reader know who this character is. Anyway, we see her leave the house, we see her walk to the church, we see her in church, and then after church, we see her at the diner, where the gruesome scene takes place. So in the second version, we get a very condensed, almost kind of quick walkthrough of her and her mother walking from church service to the diner. So a lot was cut out on that one. Then on the final one, we get to see, we kind of glaze over the congregation, the church, the walk to church, and leaving the house and whatnot. We get straight to the action, which is in the diner. So for those of you who didn't get to hear the story, I'm going to read it in its entirety, which this one is only 7 pages. So I'm going to try to make this quick and painless, and you will see where it has come from. Now, I will say that in the previous versions, especially the first version, there was a running statement, the if it offends, cut it off. And I loved that little, you know, sentence, that callback, because you hear it in the first page of the story, and then again, it echoes in the middle of the story, and again at the end of the story. If it offends, cut it off. And Barrett had me cut this line, and I'm so glad that he did now, because it would have given away the ending to the story. So I'm really glad that it worked out the way that it did, because after all, I did actually place in the contest, and I don't know if I would have placed had the judges known going into the story what was already going to happen, if that makes sense. So, okay, guys, I'm going to read it to you real quick. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I do appreciate you. And feel free to critique me in the comments. I have no issues with that whatsoever. Just be respectful, okay? All right, so here we go. 5-finger discount. I sinned. I admit it. I had stolen a granola bar from the locked pantry at home, a midnight snack that violated my bone broth diet. The one I'd been put on after reaching 90 pounds. Overweight in Mom's eyes for someone not yet 5 feet tall. She had sentenced me to a year in the attic for breaking 2 of the deadly sins in one fell swoop. Greed and gluttony. Ungrateful thieving piggy, she had called me when she caught me. I had sworn back then to never disobey, never to fall into temptation, yet here I sit, ensnared by the same sins once again. But after this, my final atonement, I will have learned my lesson. My first and last day of freedom, both today. I am free from the attic, but will forever be chained to the congregation. I always sat in the pew, never believing the messages preached from the pulpit. But one by one, All kids are converted, our parents full participants in this twisted religious sect. It is the duty of all church members to keep the flock in line. It takes a village, after all. And all children must learn to obey. Our parents follow twisted rules and will go whatever lengths they must in order to belong, survive, and thrive in our secret community. We keep up appearances as we hide in plain sight alongside the townfolk in this small Georgia town in the middle of nowhere, USA. Visitors to our church seldom suspect a thing, allowing us to continue the charade of a close-knit, family-friendly town. The members wear smiling masks, attending a community ball in a constant masquerade. I dart my eyes around the room. Heavy, pungent smoke lingers in the air. Everyone's skin is tinged a blue-white glow from the flickering fluorescent lights. Ceiling fans pull double duty to keep us cool in this Georgia heat and help dissipate aromas that cling in the atmosphere. The jukebox along the corner wall bellows out a Done Somebody Wrong song. Its volume is unnervingly loud from being boosted a song ago, drowning out Mitzi's cries as she repents from her sin. I fidget in my seat, awaiting my lunch and punishment to be served. The elders dole out our just rewards, flogging us with their stone-cold eyes as we indulge in our sin, all here to witness our conversion and repentance. My mouth, like Niagara Falls, gushes in response to all the aromas in the air, all the smells of various meats, fruits, veggies, and pastries have my senses on overload. Yummy goodness, all of which are battered, smothered, and deep-fried delicious. Sweet scents of dessert like apple fritters and peach cobbler waft up my nose, and my stomach does a little dance. I teeter on the edge, trying to be patient, while waiting for whatever Mom had requested this time to be cooked up special just for me. She knows how much I want to taste a burger and fries, be normal like other kids, but she never allows it. Instead, she only tells me it's not good for me. She knows how much I want. Oh, sorry, I read that line again. Your body is a temple, Caroline, and shouldn't be polluted with all that grease. Maybe she'd give in. Just this once. A girl could dream. I scan the crowd. In attendance today, I spy faces of people that I once looked to for help not so long ago, staring back at me. My private school teacher, the mailman, and the woman deputy of our town, our newest members of the church. The song ends and another clicks into place on the jukebox. Mom comes from the kitchen, holding my dome-covered meal in her hand. The smell mingles with the other unpleasant scents here in the diner. Body odor and cigars and old lady perfume couldn't touch this unfamiliar stench that I now inhale. What is this new aroma? I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Mom places the dish in front of me and reveals the one-of-a-kind, deep-fried concoction and lets me know that I will have to eat every bite. I'm so hungry. I'm overwhelmed by the sight, and tears form in my eyes. Mom claps her hands, squealing in delight. She's happy to see me eat and put the sin and ugliness behind me with this last pardoning meal. Well, dig in, Mom says. I try to put it out of my mind. As I bring it to my lip, shame covers me. So I pretend that I'm eating crunchy celery, a healthier option. Already I feel guilty. I bet Mitzi does too. She had been the one to bring me that one yummy grilled cheese less than an hour ago. I sit with another plate of food before me, one that I don't want anymore, no matter how much my stomach begs. But I chew the first bite, stuffing my face anyway. I'm a glutton for punishment, I suppose. Everyone watches me, except Mitzi, Marge's daughter. She was my waitress earlier and had brought, not bought, as it was a 5-finger discount, my sandwich that I gladly accepted and ate. We had joined in a secret thievery. We were in this together, equally. But we were paying now. Because those kinds of discounts, they're never free. Sin always comes at a cost. Mitzi had paid a price, but now she's forgiven, and she is a newly inducted member of the church. My only true friend refuses to participate in my humiliation and punishment. She leans behind the counter for support, body trembling, face white, head down, sobbing violently. and I confess to all my greatest offense, a fried delicacy, and I indulge in it now. Doesn't matter if I don't want to. I'll do it anyway. Staring at the plate before me, I pick up my first ever fry. It bleeds with ketchup. My spine aches against the hard booth bench, but I soldier on. This morning at my weigh-in, Mom had smiled like the Cheshire Cat when she read the display, 78 pounds on the dot. For the first time in a long time, I had smiled too. I crave her approval almost as much as I crave food. After service this morning, she brought me to the diner. Mom ordered tomato soup. It was full of flavor and color and was to be the intended treat. But I had gotten greedy for more after I devoured it in only a few gulps. It was so much more delicious than that colorless, tasteless broth that I was accustomed to. Mitzi had been the accomplice to my sin. She was the one who gave me the grilled cheese, a reward that Mom did not approve of, nor did she order. So Mom concocted a punishment to fit both our crimes. Mitzi already had faced her reckoning, and now I face mine. I hate people watching me eat, my gluttonous nature full on display. Church members still dressed in their Sunday best, packed to capacity like pickles in a jar, have come to witness my weakness, the sin that brings me here. Marge, the diner owner and prominent member of the church, flips over the "Come on in" sign to "See y'all later." Today's a private luncheon, no outsiders allowed. My stomach swells like a pufferfish in anticipation. I chew, not caring that I have a severe aversion to the solid texture. Slathered in grease, breaded and fried, I had earned this treat. Liquid diets do nothing more than keep you alive. But today, I pay for the wages of my sin, and I die inside. I spit out a curved, flimsy crescent and pick up a longer fry, a crispy, golden foreign food that I bite and chew robotically while everyone stares. Mom orders me to eat. When I paused for a moment, just trying to keep it down, I force a swallow. Remembering my training from long ago, like a wounded animal, I both fear and comply with Mom's demand. Children are to promptly and without question obey their parents. Once, I had stopped midstream while on the toilet when Mom had called out, "Caroline, come here," from the kitchen. I had jumped up to obey the precise moment that she had made the demand. If only I had listened like I did back then, I wouldn't be in this predicament. Slowly and methodically, I reached for another. Only two left now. My stomach quiets and churns just the same. My freshly altered skirt tightens as my belly swells, already full, after only 3 fries. The bell above the diner's door chirps out a "You're not welcome" chime as an elderly woman struggles to tug the handle open. I recognize her from church. She's the town social worker, the Nosy Rosie, pastor had called her. She grabs the handle again, shaking the door, trying to get in. She puts her face against the tinted window and peers inside. 2 church deacons move to block her view. She had visited our church for the first time this morning. She was convinced, after seeing my dwindling frame and Abby's burn scars and little Timmy's deformed foot on his makeshift crutches, that us children, young and old alike, were being abused. She had even talked to Deputy Sarah, who had assured her that appearances could be deceiving. We had all suffered accidents or illness, but none were connected. The deacons had escorted her out of the church when she refused to believe the explanation. She had sat in the same pew as me and even passed me a note, asking me if I needed help, one which I read, but crumpled and tossed to the floor when I saw Mom coming up the aisle, never getting the chance to respond. Too late now. I had accepted my fate, as should she. Better to leave well enough alone and not cause strife. I keep chewing and look away from the door. I shift my gaze to the kids in the corner booth across from mine. We were a forever family, bonded by our collective traumas. We had all suffered at one time or another, and all had been vulnerable to sin, and just as helpless and humiliated as I am now. When all hope is gone, you give in. You give up that sin and go along to get along. I spit another crescent shape onto my plate and I reach now for the shortest, skinny fry. I bathe it in red dollops before placing it into my mouth. How long must I suffer? I lock my gaze on my betrayers, my adult audience. I had gone to each of them when they were not members, begging them to intervene. They saw, but they never helped. They believed they're helping me now, purge me from my sin. They urge me to clean my plate and be welcomed into the fold. Mom towers over me. Judgment burns in her eyes like molten flame. Finish, Caroline. Be the glutton that you are, she says. Fresh tears make a trail down my gaunt cheeks. Focus on leaving your sin behind, the preacher says. I nod, ready to be done with it all. Mom's patience wears thin as she hurries me along. I stare blurry-eyed at my plate. One left. I chew faster. My jaw works overtime as the greasy bits last longer than they should. My teeth whimper. Should fries be so tough to chew? I struggle to keep them down. The jukebox behind me plays the next song in its cue. How many songs had played since taking my first bite? I must be eating sloth slow, but I wasn't trying to savor the flavor. Acid rises in my throat. I scowl, mouth full, and swallow hard as it washes down. People continue to stare, and I squirm beyond uncomfortable. Must they watch me? Did they have to witness my shame? I had given in to temptation, and they had given in to theirs at one time for sure. No one's perfect. Where was the compassion, the understanding? All I could see was their condemnation, their smug expressions. Mom snatched the last fry, a short, fat one, and feeds it to me. She pats my hand and silently conveys that it'll be over soon. I steal a glance at Mitzi. She's watching now, horror-stricken, pain and astonishment etch across her face. She sways sideways, falling out from where she had been propped behind the counter in full view. I take her in. Her right arm is tightly bundled at the wrist by a crimson-soaked towel. It spills blood onto the diner tiles. The realization hits me. I finally comprehend her contribution to my punishment. I swallow the last bite before vomit claims it. My sin forgiven, I become an official member of our church. I will live to regret this, but I will live. I learned my lesson. Never will I eat fried foods again, especially not fried fingers. Okay. So anyway, guys, I don't know if that was actually the final version. I know there was a few things that I don't think were in there. So I think there might have been one other cleaned up version that was sent into the contest. But anyway, I think you guys get the gist. So this poor girl, if you didn't understand the story, I'll try to explain it a little bit. This poor girl, her punishment because of her greed and her gluttony to her mother was a punishment of having to eat a fried delicacy in front of the entire church, to have that sin, her gluttony, be put on display. And once she had done this, she would be welcomed into the church, sin behind her. But it had to be, put on display for all to see. Now, Mitzi was the waitress who had brought to her a grilled cheese sandwich, and Mitzi didn't pay for it. So that is where the 5-finger discount comes in. So basically she had stolen it. So Mitzi's crime was stealing. So the mother of Caroline concocted this punishment to punish both of the girls. So not only her own daughter, but also the one who had fed into the daughter Caroline's gluttony and greed, because the mother had only given the tomato soup. That was to be the reward for her daughter. But the waitress had brought her something else, which the mom did not approve of, nor did she order. And so the mom kind of wanted to get back at the waitress, Mitzi, as well. So what had happened was, between the church folk who are in on it, and the diner owner, which is Mitzi's mother. Marge owns the diner. Had taken her daughter and took her back into the kitchen, sliced off her hand, and had breaded it, deep fried it, and then served it for Caroline to eat. So, anyway, that's why it's called Five Finger Discount. So I know it's a little dark, dark and twisty, but that's me, guys. Anyway, this story had many versions. These were just, I think, 3 of the versions that I found. I did have a much longer handwritten version of the story. And what's funny is Barrett is an excellent critique partner, and through his guidance and his suggestions and his insight, I was able to really get to the heart of the story. And it wasn't so much about the church element. I mean, if it had been a longer story, if it was for that purpose, then yes, the longer scenes would have give us a little more characterization, a little more of the plot. We would have seen that unfold in a timely fashion. But since it was for this format, a short story, all of that was not needed for the character development. Because I think what you can see from the final version was that we get the gist of who Caroline is. We get the gist of the mother. We get the gist of this sect, this religious sect within the community. We get the harsh reality of, their right and wrong, their sense of right and wrong, and their sense of, punishment to be doled out. We get all of that by the end when it's revealed that it is, the girl's hand has been chopped off and fed to the other girl. You get that severity. You get that this is a very twisted group of people. So, anyway, but at Barrett's suggestion, he had told me to really focus and hone in on what were the most compelling elements of the story and focus in on those, and try to tell the story completely, but with those elements, kind of guiding the way. So, uh, to those of you who had attended our last critique, I think Barrett had touched on this, saying that, when we had been working together, he was a little afraid that I had cut so much. He was expecting me to cut about 500 words or so from the original piece that I had sent him, and I ended up cutting way more than that. So I think I cut maybe close to 5,500 or 5,000 something. It was a little over 5,000. Basically, it was a 7,000 some odd word story, and I cut it down to, right at 2,000 or just a little under or a little over. But anyway, I'd cut it down so much. He was afraid that I had lost the essence of the story. But, to each his own. It may be subjective. Some of you may hate the story. Some may like it. Some may, be not interested or whatever, and that's totally fine. But I'm glad that the judges at least were able to see, the meat of the story. They got the gist of it basically because I placed. So, I'm proud that I did place. I wish that I could have done better. But guys, this was my very first time writing a short story. So it can be done. I am an overwriter. I do write, lengthy sentences and whatnot. And it kind of, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I think the point I'm trying to make is that even if you are an overwriter, there is still a way for you to get to the heart of your story, and keep what packs the most punch and what still manages to tell the story. So that's what I did. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of my critique partner, Barrett Laurie. So thank you, Barrett. But anyway, if you guys would like to know any of these other versions, just tell me in the comments and I'll be more than happy to read you the other versions. They are quite different. One goes into the church scene a lot more, so you know what's kind of happening there. And the other is just kind of an overall view of her torture and then her walk to the church, things happening in the church. You get a little bit of backstory of the other children and their injuries. And then we also get to see, the whole diner scene, how it plays out. Now, it plays out a little differently in each of the stories, or each of the versions of the story, but I think in the end, you understand the short story version. Really, my hair, oh goodness, I'm hot under this ring light. It's driving me insane. But anyway, I think you get the gist of what I'm saying, is that it doesn't matter if you're an overwriter or an underwriter. It's just a matter of honing those skills. I had never written a short story before, and I was very happy that I actually got the chance to write a short story. So it can be done. It sucked that I had to cut so much of it because it was almost like wasted words, but I don't consider it to be a wasted project or wasted words, because through each revision, I learned a new skill. I learned something. So, I hope that me being this transparent with you and showing you or reading you some of the different versions of it, you can kind of see how the writing has changed, and where I, took out things that weren't pertinent to the story or didn't change the story in one form or the other. I took out a lot of that extra stuff. So, when I write, I don't always choose the right words, word choices, and things like that. I do have repetitions. I am just like all of you. I fall into the same pitfalls. But it's through that revision process and through that editing and through that scaling back and improving and really choosing the right words, in the end is what matters, that final product. But it doesn't discount all the work that you've done before, because every step of the process, you're getting better, you're learning. So always remember that it's never wasted. It's just on how you look at it, but it can be done. Thank you guys so much. That's all I have for you today. I do appreciate you for sticking around this long. For those of you who have made it to this point in the video, guys, if you could do me a favor and pick any emoji that you want and drop it in the comments. Let me know that you stuck around to the end of the video. I appreciate you. I hope that I will see you guys later on today. Actually, today is only Tuesday, but when you guys see this video, it'll be Thursday. So I hope that I will see you later today, Thursday, between 5 and 7 Central Time on Barrett Laurie's channel. We're doing another live critique where we have accepted submissions again on any work in progress, any draft, whether it be first draft, second draft, third draft, whatever the case may be. Come and share your work. If you don't want to read it, you don't have to. You can choose Barrett to read it or myself. Or you can read it if you want to, or you don't have to read it at all. We can just put it on screen and kind of give you our thoughts and opinions on it. None of us are, professional, or, well, I don't know, maybe someone in the stream will be, but our whole point is not to, shake our finger or wag or say this is right or this is wrong. It is more about a collective goal. We all want to rise in our writing skills. We all want to level up. And so by sharing our critiques with one another, just showing ways that the wording could be improved or the structure could be improved, little, filter words, all these little things that can hinder the best outcome of your story is what we're trying to show you. We're trying to show you ways that weasel words or crutch words or filter language or slipping in tense, any of those things that weigh down or bog down your writing and don't let it shine. That's what we're trying to help you with. We're trying, and not just, us helping you, but you guys helping us as well. I think that Barrett and I both will be sharing something this time. I'm not real sure. I'm going to try to throw something together. But my point is that, we would love to have you guys there later today for that live stream. And we appreciate each and every one of you coming together as a community and helping one another level up their writing skills. So that's all I have for you today. I'll see you later on, guys, on Barrett's channel. So that will be the live critique with Bex and Barrett, or Barrett and Bex, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So anywho, that was a huge long video. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on for like 45 minutes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like this type of video, please be sure to hit that like button, and also, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know the next time that I upload, which is usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. However, I had been sick and had a few family issues going on earlier, so I think I had missed 2 weeks, but I'm back. So if I do miss one, guys, just bear with me. I will have another video up as soon as I am able. But anyway, what else was I going to say? Subscribe if you want to, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy writing. Bye.